there, I am Keita Adewale, and thank you so much for joining us for My Sister's Couch, a place where you can come and share your testimonies and share what God has done for you and where the Lord has brought you from, and give glory and honor and praise to Him. So My Sister's Couch, this is for conversation. Conversation. The O is for openness. The U is for understanding. The C is that we're Christ-centered. And then the H is that we bring help, hope, and healing. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and begin to share My Sister's Couch. We're joined today by Andrea Moorhead. She is the former young adult pastor of Kingdom Nation in North Augusta, South Carolina. She is single and she has a Pomeranian named Prince, and I like to call her a fashionista. Now, has God ever called you or is calling you to step out on faith and do something that's outside of your comfort zone, something so radical that it's going to take great faith? Well, let's listen to Andrea's story right here on My Sister's Couch. Well, hello, my dear sister Andrea. It is so good to see you again after such a long time. You look good. You look refreshed.
Thank you,
New Year
sis.
to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. It's great to see you, even though it's virtually. It's still good to see you.
I know it is. This is our virtual My Sister's Couch, and so thank you. Actually, even thank you so much for being our first guest for 2023.
Listen.
Couch, okay?
Yes. Yeah. Listen, in my sorority, we got a little joke about being first.
Man, I understand, girl. You look good, though. You look great.
So do you. So do you. You look good.
Thank you so much. Right, so we're just going to jump right into it. We know that you have made a big transition, and this is an opportunity for you to get a chance to share your story with the world.
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited for you because it was great hearing the story. This time around, when I reached out to the woman of God to get your contact information again, she was like, "You moved to Texas." I said, "Wait a minute." She moved to Texas. She said, "Yeah, she has relocated to Texas." And so I was like, wow. And so now we get a chance to actually connect virtually.
Yes.
And so you have a story to share. And you were in Augusta, Georgia. You're originally from Detroit, Michigan. Hey, which is where I'm from. The 313, where I'm from, Detroit, Michigan. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Detroit. All right, and so you made a transition, but you relocated and you moved to Augusta, Georgia, and you've been in Augusta, Georgia for 17 years, and then the Lord was speaking to you and called you to move and relocate to Dallas, Texas. Okay, yes. I can't wait to hear this story. Dallas, Texas, coming to Augusta, Georgia. It's almost like when I came from Detroit to Augusta.
Right.
I'm sure.
Right.
That was a big transition. All right, so my first question is, in your story, what was your biggest challenge? First of all, what even led you? What was the starting point of you getting ready to make this move and transition? And how had you been hearing from God? What was that all like? Were did He speak into your spirit? Did you have a dream? Were you uncomfortable? Like, what really led now to you actually, getting to make this transition to go to another state?
Okay, that's a great question. So I started, I want to say about 5 years ago. I started falling into this funk, and I just couldn't shake it. For the last, I want to say last year and a half. So like over the 5 years, I would fall into a funk, and I'm like, okay, I'm achieving goals, I'm knocking them out, I'm hitting them. And so I remember going through some old box that I had in the attic, and it had an old journal that I wrote in, and I wrote all of these goals that I wanted to accomplish before I left Augusta. Because I always knew that Augusta was a stepping stone for it. When I would meet people, they'd be like, "Why are you here? Like you supposed to be in a big city. You supposed to be doing bigger things." And I just had to go at God's pace. So one of the things that really made me start going in prayer about moving was when I found that list, and I had literally achieved every list, everything on that list except for one thing, and it was pledging AKA. And so when that happened, I was like, it's time to go. I was like, it's time to go. So I wanted to give my community service. I wanted to give um, my chapter a year. I wanted to commit to that. And then finding Kingdom Nation. They had promoted me to a young adult pastor, and I was like, I was enjoying it. I loved being there. I loved my church family. And that was another thing that kept me there longer. Because whenever I started feeling in that funk, like Pastor D and Pastor K, they could feel it. They never said, "Oh, we know that you're going through something." They would just pray for me. They would, ask me if I'm okay. People would check on me, and it was just really invigorating to have that kind of support from church, especially experiencing church hurt over the past. So I couldn't shake that funk the last year and a half though. So I was like, I started praying. I said, God, it's been on my heart to move to Texas. And it was prophesied to me by Apostle Gamble, like, you're gonna be in Texas, you got work there, God is on you, have you on assignment, but never said when, right? So I knew I was supposed to come here. So after I couldn't shake that funk, I was like, when my lease is up, I am moving to Texas. I don't care if I go to Texas with $2 to my name. Like, I know that God is calling me there, and He will provide. So I started getting out of my natural way and started praying more in the spirit, trusting God more. A lot of us, especially women of God, children of God, we trust God, but it's not 100%, if we're being honest. And it's like we want to trust God on what we can control, right? And so when we start to fully trust God and get out of His way, He starts to really show us the assignment and alignment that He has for our lives. So I just was like, you know what, God, I've been doing it my way for a long time. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm like, I trust you, God, but now I am solely depending on you. I'm solely dependent on you because my way has got me to this point, but I know your way will get me to where I need to be. So, yeah.
I love that. I love what you said
Yeah.
about assignment and alignment.
Thank you. Yes.
That was real good.
Thank you.
That was real good. So you were a business owner also,
Yes.
right? You were a
Yes.
business owner, so you were walking away basically from a business.
My
Um,
bread and butter.
tell us a little bit about that. How did you walk away from the bread and butter?
So I had a clientele over 100 doing natural hair, and I also taught dance. And so it was the freedom that I loved. Of course, I love doing natural hair. I love seeing my clients' reaction. I love seeing their hair grow. Doing hair really expanded not only my brand but my name. And so a lot of people was like, "Oh, I heard of you," or it got to a point where my clients could recognize other people hair. Like, I know that rap from anywhere. That's a silk press from Andrea, So
Okay.
it was a invigorating feeling knowing that this girl from Detroit, Michigan, who is not from here, has come and built this brand from scratch. No clients, no nothing. So I went from 0 to 100 plus clients. And so I was able to sustain a lifestyle. I was able to purchase vehicles. I was able to, the grace of God, never been evicted. All my bills were paid on time. Money in my pocket, honey. I was looking at my accounts. I was like, okay, God, I see you. Listen, every clothes I had on, shoes, purses, everything God had literally blessed my hands and my feet to buy it. And so I was living the dream that I thought that it was. I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna do hair, I'm gonna teach dance, I'm changing lives by teaching dance. The children love me. I adore children. I can mentor them while I'm teaching dance. Being in the church, the young adult pastor, me and the young adults like this, I'm assisting with the youth. And then when it came to my hair business, it just grew immensely. And God blessed it so much. And I was beyond, God blew my mind. When I got on my website, I ended up getting a website the last year that I was there. And so all my clients would go on there and they would put their information in and all of that. And that's how I knew how many, because people would say, how many clients do you have? I'm like, I don't know. That's how I knew how many clients I had when they would go and register and to book an appointment. And one day I just started counting and it was like 110, 120 people. I was like, wow.
Wow, that's all.
Wow.
So how did you just walk away from that? Like,
Um, I don't want to say that it wasn't bringing me fulfillment anymore. Um, but I knew that it was time for me to get to another level. And I know that your talent, the Bible talks about your talents, your gifts, it brings you wealth. And I'm not bragging, but I'm talented in a lot of areas. And I'm a jack of all trade, master of none. And so I was like, God, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Right? Like, what is Andrea? Like, what is Andrea Moorhead? My alias Andrea Monroe. Like, what is the capacity to her? Like, where is she supposed to find her niche? Where is she supposed to impact the world the most? And so when I got to that place, I was like, it's not here. It's not in Augusta. It's not in Augusta. I'm a city girl. I love the competitive feeling. I love being around fast pace, so I got complacent with the slow pace and I was able to accomplish a lot. I'm working on my PhD. So that was like ideal for me, to not be around a lot of noise and be able to focus and not be distracted. But I was like, I'm ready to excel. I'm ready to get into another tax bracket. Like I'm ready to I'm really ready to impact the world and as much as I can. And I had joy giving to my church, but I'm like, I want to be able to give 500,000. Okay. I want to be able to not about seeing homeless people, but actually doing something about it. I want to be able to mentor and take my nonprofit to the next level, like I've always envisioned doing it. So it's about making a stamp on this world while we're here. So that's what impacted my.
what was, now that you know that and you was able to walk away from the bread and the butter and you knew God was calling you to another level, as you put it, what was your biggest challenge in making that first step?
My biggest challenge was definitely going from entrepreneurship back into the working force. I was procrastinating on even my move, but like it got to a point where I was like, I could do month to month for a little while, right? But I didn't want to leave entrepreneurship because this is what I adore. I adore the freedom, not having to ask somebody for time off for over a decade. So I'm like, time off? Ask you what? Like, what? Put a form in. Where is that? Use a pen. Like, no.
You got to get it approved.
Approved? Wait till Friday for a paycheck.
A notice.
No, baby. Payday is every day. Okay.
Right.
So it was having to go back to the workforce. And then I didn't even know what I wanted to do, sis, if I'm being honest. I was like, I don't know what kind of jobs to apply for. Like, what do I look for? I was like, do I go back into therapy, which, I've built a despisement of, not the fact that therapy isn't a great thing, but the fact that I didn't want to do it no more,
Mhm.
and it didn't bring me any joy anymore doing it. So I was like, do I go back to that and just kind of just, maneuver through me, how I feel about agencies and things like that? I said, or do I bring this chapter of doing hair to this new chapter that God is calling me to? I said, or what do I do? Do I get a desk job? Do I answer phones? Like, what am I doing? So I just I fear of not knowing what to do once I got here. And then living with family. I was like, me live with somebody? Like, me and my dog being friends? Like, my whole livelihood trusting somebody with this besides God? Like, I'm trusting somebody to say that their place is okay for me and my child to come to. Oh gosh. I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. I've been on my own since I was 18. I was like, I don't know. So it was just a fear of letting go entrepreneurship, having to go back into the workforce, and then having to live with family. And I was just like, oh my, I don't know. I don't know if I could do this. Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel that this move has propelled you more into purpose? Like you were the youth pastor, correct? You were the youth
Yeah.
pastor at Kingdom Nation,
Young adult. Yeah. Uh-huh.
or a young adult pastor
Yes.
at Kingdom Nation, and you were active in ministry and then other roles and capacities in which you served. Then, of course, being that entrepreneur or the kingdompreneur, as we say,
Yes.
having been a business owner with a kingdom mindset, understanding it's about seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to us, right? And so we make it
Amen.
about God and kingdom advancement. We are our spiritual minded business owners, right? And so now you go into this new place. Do you feel like, your that spiritual part, is that still being fulfilled in you as far as a house of worship? Have you found a house of worship? Have you are you in ministry? How are you still serving? Are you still connected? Like, has this catapulted you more into the call of God on your life, or
Yeah.
were you sort of feeling your way?
Yeah. So I knew where I'm at in my walk with God. I knew that I had to find a covering. I had to find a covering before I found a place to live. One of my good friends from high school, when I put my post up that I moved up, I didn't really tell many people that I was leaving, because I didn't want anybody to try to talk me out of it. I was already on the outs about, a little nervous about leaving, but so I didn't tell many people. But when I got here, my friend from high school, she saw my post. And I know she's a woman of God. And so I asked her, I said, hey, where's your church? Like, what church do you go to? And she said, it's funny you asked that. Me and my husband started the church. And I was like, wow. So she's like, my husband preaches. And I was like, I'm coming. Send me the address. I don't care where it's at. I'm coming. And so once I went there, it reminded me so much of Kingdom Nation.
Mm,
Just how they flow and the love that I received walking in there, and it's just such an amazing place. And the pastor is young, it's very diverse, and it's a small church, but it's growing fast, like how Kingdom Nation is, and it felt like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? And I need this spiritual covering. And my pastor, he preached so good. And every single it is, like I said, remind me of Kingdom Nation. Every single Sunday, before I joined Kingdom Nation, it was like God had gave Pastor K the word, like, look, this girl need to join this church. You need to preach about this, okay? So it was like that in my new church, the Heart Church. And so it was like every was aligned to my purpose, aligned to what I was going through at the time. So I knew I was supposed to be there. And then I cried like a baby every Sunday. I was like, girl, if you don't walk up to the front door of the church. So spiritual covering was definitely number one for me. So yes. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna come. I'm gonna pay my tithes just like I thought I was gonna do at Kingdom Nation. Pay my tithes, sit in the back. No, I didn't sit in the back this time because I learned at Kingdom Nation I'm supposed to sit in the front, right? So I went to the front, I just sat down, and I was like, I'm gonna pay my tithes. I ain't really trying to do too much. I'm trying to be replenished from all of the outpouring
Yeah.
and serving. It was just like, it's cute, but we know you're a minister. You don't have to tell us. Like, we know it, we see it. God is showing it to us. So I mean, what you trying to do? So I was like, I was like, y'all don't have a dance ministry, okay? And so I was like, whatever you need me to do with the dance ministry, I'll start there.
Okay.
And so it took a while, and they asked me to dance for our children's Christmas program, and so I danced for them. And that same day, we had like an award ceremony and a dinner, and they promoted me to director of performing arts. So I was like, oh God.
Wow.
So I was like,
Nice, Andrea. Nice.
what an honor. I've
Yeah.
only been at this church for maybe 3 months. And
Wow.
I was like, what an honor, right? So,
Wow.
yeah.
Awesome. So you feel like it's where you're supposed to be, like you're fitting
Yes,
into the house
yes,
of worship. That's awesome.
definitely,
That's
definitely.
awesome. Let me ask you something. How has this activated your faith even more? Like, how has this said, wait a minute, your faith has grown. The Bible talks about how we grow from glory to glory and from faith to faith. And so
Mm-hmm.
how has this journey or this process helped to build and grow and establish you even more in your faith walk?
Mm-hmm. So, when I first came here, I did a lot of crying. Right, a lot of people didn't know that. I did a lot of crying. I cried, if not every day, every other day, because so much stuff was going wrong. Like everything was going wrong. Everything that you could imagine, from minuscule to big to massive, right? And
Mm.
so, I just went on this fast from TV. I didn't really watch a lot of TV, but I needed like the noise of TV to like help me go to sleep. And so I just started like I didn't turn the TV on at all.
Mhm.
And so I opened my Bible. Before I went to sleep, I opened my Bible and I said, God, where do you want me to start? And he told me Proverbs. And so when I started reading Proverbs, it was like an instant activation of not only wisdom, but faith. My faith, of course, is what got me here. It was a faith move and a fresh start for me. This blind faith. I didn't have no job lined up, no place to stay. I just packed my stuff and I came. But reading Proverbs and just having that alone time with God, and God started to tell me to share it with people, right? So I started sharing it on Snapchat. I started sharing what the Holy Spirit was giving me, with the revelation it was giving me on TikTok. And so it just started activating. People was responding to it. It was what they needed to hear. But God also gave me more revelation on faith, right? And so faith is small as a mustard seed, right? We can see a mustard seed, we can hold a mustard seed, but we can also lose a mustard seed. And so if we don't actively work our faith, we may never find that mustard seed. Or we can actively work our faith and find a mustard seed that we lost. And so God also gave me that if you're not actively working your faith will die. Faith without works is dead. which means that if we're not working, it dies. And so I didn't feel like in Augusta I was fully working my faith. I worked it to a certain level, so I kept it revived. I kept it on life support, but it wasn't breathing on its own because I was comfortable. And so the only way that I could fully activate my faith is getting out of my comfort zone. Getting out of my comfort zone. I came here and I'm like, I don't really know a lot of people here. I have friends here that moved here from Detroit that I still haven't seen. My cousin and her husband is here. You know, I know my first lady, you know, we went to high school together, but I didn't know a lot of people here. So I'm literally starting from scratch like I did 17 years ago in Augusta. So just literally everything, every move that I make, everything that I do is faith-based. Faith-based. Everything. I can't see it. I don't know the outcome, but I just trust God that much. Even if I have to cry, I've been such a crybaby these last 5-6 months. Like I've done the most crying in my the 5-6 months that I have in 36 years. So just cleansing. Everything is faith. Everything is faith. Everything that I'm going through right now is faith, 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 faith. Not knowing the outcome, but trusting and knowing. That's another thing that God gave me revelation on. Faith is knowing that God gonna do it. Knowing, not thinking, not believing to a certain extent, not wondering, not hoping, not wishing, but knowing that God is gonna do what He said He was gonna do. Knowing that everything is coming to pass. Knowing that He's gonna grant the desires of my heart. Knowing that if His will is my will, that everything is gonna fall into place. Knowing that He has plans for my future. Knowing that all things are working for my good. Knowing that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Knowing that He sent His Son, not to condemn me, but to save me. Knowing that if I keep denying myself, I can pick up the cross and follow Him. And knowing that man cannot live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God.
Just know it. Just know it. Amen. I love it. Just know it and just do it. And you know, do
it like Nike. Just do it.
Do it. And so you have to take your knowing to the level of doing, so that your words and actions went together for you. And that's what faith does. And like you said, faith without works is dead. So it combines our works, and it combines our faith. And so this is an outcome of that. You know, we just be obedient, and then we know that the outcome is on God when we are walking in obedience to what He has called us to. So we're about to get ready to wrap it up. It has been a pleasure. Let me ask you this before we go, Andrea. I want you to be able to speak, not ask, but I want you to be able. You basically almost just gave us the good news. You know, here on My Sister's Couch, we always allow our guests, as we get ready to close and wrap it up, to speak directly to our viewers, because so many, especially at this pivotal time of the season or of the year, are pondering some things. And I like what you said about how you just sort of picked up and you moved, Andrea. You didn't have. I want you to now speak to our brothers and sisters out there directly into your camera, and you just speak from your heart. Like, you know, this is My Sister's Couch, and we've all made some poor choices sometimes, and made some mistakes. Oh, and one more thing I want to say. I love what you said about how you were crying every day. Like you were crying, or every other day. Because sometimes, just because we might be in the will of God, you know, God will reveal his will, but He doesn't always reveal the plan right away. Just as long as we be in the will, and as we go on a journey, He will unfold the plan. He will, you know, He will begin to continue to order our steps. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. He will usher us into the right direction. And so sometimes that brings about nervousness. I mean, it doesn't mean we still don't have faith and know, but there's still sometimes maybe a little bit of, you know, some nervousness that may come. And I liked how you were real and you were authentic and you said, wait a minute. And it doesn't mean that you're outside of the will of God. Because sometimes people think, okay, I'm making this move and I'm making this transition and I know this is what God told me, but why aren't things coming together like I thought? Why am I having such a struggle? Some have some struggles sometimes. Some have some adversity and sometimes they're battling through something sometimes even on their way to possess the land or possess the promise and walk in the call or walk in their purpose. So, I wanted our viewers to also, I love that you had said that, to know, for them to be also encouraged that, sometimes you may feel like even in the middle of you being obedient and following the steps of the Lord, following his will for your life, that you think all things are going to work well right now and it's going to be hunky dory. And sometimes it just takes a build up for that to happen, a continuation of that same
Yes.
faith to continue to grow and to continue to be built upon. And it doesn't mean that you're out of alignment or out of assignment or out of his will. It just means it's a progressive walk and that he has continued to build and grow you in the process. So now I want you to go ahead and look into that camera and give us the good news. Talk to that brother or sister out there that's going, where maybe God is calling them to someplace different. But for her, it was a move. For her, it was a move to a whole nother state and city. For you, it might be quitting your job and starting that business, like coming out of the corporate America or the nonprofit sector and actually going into entrepreneurship. For
Yes.
you, it might be selling that home. For you, it might be going into retirement.
Yes.
For you, it might be starting the nonprofit. For you, it might be starting the ministry, building the church. So whatever your it is, we're talking about what your it is. Her it was relocating from Augusta to Dallas, Texas. That was her it. That was her, that she had to know it. She had to do it. She had to believe it. She had to trust it. She had to go for it. She had to grip it. That was her it. But now you have your own it. And so, whatever your it is, Sister Andrea, minister, woman of God, my sister, fashionista, go ahead and speak to our brothers and sisters to their own it.
Okay, so first, coming from a therapeutic standpoint, you have to know where you stand mentally, right? And so you have to know, um, it starts with not being in denial about where you are. So if you feel like God is pulling you for greater, if God is calling you to a new city or calling you to whatever height that may be, you have to first know where you are mentally. And then once you know where you are mentally, you can identify spiritually, you can identify physically, you can identify emotionally. In all of the other sectors, you know where you stand when your mind is clear. Because when your mind is clouded, it's a distraction already. So how can you clear distractions when the distraction starts in your own body, right? So knowing that you have a clear mind, you have a clear head. Now I can hear from God clearly because I'm not distracted by my own self, my own doubts, my own fear, my own anxiety, my own depression, suicidal thoughts, whatever it is that is not of God. God gave us power, love, and a sound mind, right? A sound mind. So that means that I can hear him when he speaks, but I also can hear myself. And so once I have have came to grips with where you are mentally, and if you are in a good place mentally, then you can start aligning with God's promise. You can start believing and knowing that God has great things for you. And so, one of the things that I came to grips with when I got here was, okay, God, where are you calling me to on a job? Because I listen. I promise you, it don't matter how much money you save. When you move, stuff happens. Okay, like I saved almost $20,000 to move, and I literally down to my last in like months. Okay. And so I was like, God, like, come on, bro. Like, what is going on? Right. And so God was like, listen, I am clearing all of your old money so I can replenish and I can give you what's been owed to you. A lot of us got stuff that's owed to us, right? And we don't like to talk about money because money it is money. No. The love of money, not having money. It's what you're doing with the money, right? So my seeds that I've planted, that I even forgot about, some good seeds that I've planted, it has to come to harvest. Okay, it has to come, whether it's for me, whether it's for my nieces and nephews, whether if God see fit for me to have children, whether it's just to change the nation in my name, whatever it is meant for that purpose. And so go for it. Do it. Don't allow fear. Fear is paralysis of analysis. It cripples you. It stops you right where you are. So I had to get out of my way. I promise you it was me. Not that I didn't feel I was good enough, but where do I start? Where do I start, God? How do I start this business or this vision that you've given me? How do I bring it to pass? How do I stop fully relying on people and rely more on you? Right? So with that being said, I will share this really quick. So once I got into my job now, so 5 months to almost 6 months, I've had 3 different jobs. Okay. When I tell you this is not an easy route, it's not an easy road. When I tell you on my job now, just favor, just favor. God is so good. Favor. So I've been on my job almost 3 months. In less than 90 days, they're already talking about promotion. So I would not only increase my salary, but prayerfully double in a matter of months, right? That it was my birthday, right? I turned 36.
Happy
I've been on my
birthday.
Thank you, girl. I've been on my job for almost 3 months. I just moved into my place. After 5 months, something to be extremely proud of, right? Let me tell you how the devil creeps in. The devil gonna creep in when something good going on, when you walking in purpose, and it's like a Job situation. Like you can't touch her, you can't kill her, you can tempt her, she could cry, she could doubt, but she's gonna trust, right? She's gonna know because she's in her faith move, she's in her faith walk. So you can tempt her, but you can't touch her, and that's what it is. It's temptation. It's the devil running out of tricks. It's him trying to figure out how can I get her back to that old space that where I once had her, right? And so now it's just like yesterday my birthday, and I'm sorry, God is downloading right now all of the stuff that He's been doing in this 5 months. So yesterday I walked in, I went to lunch. Everybody, I'm cute every day at work because I can finally wear my clothes now. So come on, closet. So I'm fine. I can finally wear my clothes because I'm in the office now. I'm in front of people. I'm talking every day, teaching, and so I went to lunch and I came back, and my manager is from Detroit. He's super cool. Like God just knew what He was doing, giving me this manager. And then the GM is a woman of color. She's black, and like she's like adopted me, like mentoring me, kind of helping me navigate through this process. And so I came back from lunch. I just went and got some fries because I was going to dinner later, and I came in, and my boss was like, "Girl, get in here, hurry up." So I'm like, okay. I come in. They have thrown me a surprise birthday party.
Nice.
And everybody is like, they pinning money on me, like blessing me, sending me cash apps, like in a matter of 2.5, almost 3 months. And they like, oh my God, you're such an inspiration. Your spirit, we love you. Like, and it's genuine. You know what I'm saying? It's not phony. It's genuine. I was just like, God, like, favor, and just overwhelmed yesterday, like with joy and moving into my place over the weekend. I set a goal. I said, I'm bringing a new year in my new place. Before my birthday, I want to be in my new place. Even before the year was out, I had my place. In the midst of blessings, there are storms, but the bigger picture is that God's promises have not come back void. God's word has not come back void to me. In the midst of the devil still trying to get here, right? He ain't even welcome here. He can't come to my doors. I don't want him nowhere in here, right? But he still sent some people in his honor to do some of his stuff, right? So he came to kill, steal, and destroy. So they destroyed my stuff. They done stole some stuff, but he can't kill me. Okay, he can't kill my dream. He can't kill my faith. He can't kill my testimony. He can't kill me broadcasting that I'm a child of God, telling people about God, the good news, and all of that. So I say all of that to say that go for it. Your name known. Make God amazing, his name amazing to other people that's around you. Never let anybody dim your light. Never let anybody doubt what God has given you. I've seen this clip from Steve Harvey, and he said, when you go and tell people, you can tell your mom, you can tell your teacher, you can tell your church, if God did not give them that vision, they don't know how to nurture it. They don't know how to bring it to pass. They don't know. They can doubt it because God didn't give it to them. And so that resonated in my spirit, because what God has given me, I don't expect anybody else to understand it. I don't expect anybody else to be able to nurture it, to make it grow, to give me the method or the methodology of it, because God gave it to me, so he'll provide the resources. So God will provide the resources to what you need. God will send the people, whether they know your vision or not, whether they can understand it, they can map it out, they can blueprint it. They will be in alignment with it because God sent them. He sent them. I respect your vision. I don't know how you gonna, I don't know what all it means, but here's the money, or here's the contact, here's the card. So that person can get you to the next level. I only could do so much, but here's a card. So go for it. Move to that city. It don't matter how much you save. The more you save, the more you procrastinate, the more you're gonna talk yourself out of it. Just go. Trust God. And I know it sounds crazy to the natural, but in the spiritual, it's time for us to move from naturally to getting more in the spiritual. Ignite that fire again. Start that prayer life. Start reading your Bible a little bit more. Ask for clearer understanding. And test and don't be afraid to tell people your weakness. Where I'm a very strong person, very strong individual. I'm the person that nobody check on. Don't nobody check on that girl. She's strong. She done buried her mama. She done witnessed to people. She a preacher. No. I want to know that people still praying for me. I still want people to circle around and refill me too, right? And so even if you're the strong friend, know you're going to have weaknesses when you are getting to your divine place. When you're walking into purpose, you become the weakest in your life because now you're out of the way, right? And so when you get prepared for war, when God sends you to a new place, you have to be on a war mindset because it's coming. War is coming. Storms are coming. The unforeseen is coming. The devil gonna send his people too, and you just have to be ready. Not that doesn't mean that you can prepare for the unseen, but it just means that, hey, if God equipped me for it, that means I have to prepare for it. Because we can be equipped for a lot of things, but not prepared for it. So once he equips us, we have to prepare. So when opportunity presents itself, it's too late to prepare. So go for it. Do it. Don't doubt yourself. Don't talk yourself out of it. If God placed it on your heart, just do it. Trust him. Know that he's going to do it. Know that this thing shall come to pass. And know that all things are working for your good.
Girl, what a way to start 2023.
Listen.
Girl, that is such great wisdom, man. Thank you so much for sharing with our brothers and sisters out there. I hope you have taken heed, and we really do pray that something that was said and done today has moved, touched, or inspired you. But what a way to start off 2023. All
Thank
right,
you.
knowing that
Thank
not
you.
only were we born for it, but we are graced for it as
Yes.
well. All
Yes.
right, so thank you so much. I want to thank you, my dear sister. I love you. Thank you
I
so
love
much for
you.
being
Thank you
honest.
for having me.
Yes, thank you
Yes.
for your honesty and transparency in all that you've shared today. And if you would like more information about Beyond Brick and Mortar Ministries, or if you need resources, or if there's ways that you want to reach out to us for counseling or for referral services, please do not hesitate to email us at beyondbrickmail@gmail.com. Beyondbrickmail@gmail.com. We would love to be able to assist or direct you to the assistance if we're unable to help you. Okay. All right. Thank you once again for joining us, and you all be blessed. Andrea, what a way to start 2023. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.